Hello, Greater Rain, and hello, Fake Alec Cal Parker. We're gonna play the most streamable and cool game right now that is possible to imagine. At least Karasu would agree with me. Hello, Red Rose. You're here just in time for my stream before I go to a psychiatrist, which the visit will be at 8 a.m. my time, very, very early, and 2 a.m. EST. Oh, actually good. Actually, I did not have any nightmares, so I count that as a good nap. I love going to the psychiatrist. Really? Well, we'll see if I love this visit. You will see if I will love this visit. For a proper therapy, I will have to wait. Oh. I actually hope I won't have to keep trying new pills. I hope they will just land on good ones at first time. Yeah. Something's strange. Did my cat? No, my cat. Oh god. I'm not used not to having a cat. Did my dog fart? I think my dog might have farted. Okay, we're gonna play the best game to stream. It's the most exciting game to... No, my cat died. My cat died right before my father did, actually. Oh my gosh. My cat died soon before my father did. Where are you going to a doctor? Mental health issues.
For half a millennium, humanity has lived among the stars in darkness. Humans reached the stars long ago, building a republic of high technology and universal emancipation.
Understood the mess of the books on the shelf? Isn't it like as it's been for the longest time now? Don't worry, I'll fix that mess soon, when I'm feeling a bit better. Will it work? Yes, it worked. Okay, we're playing the best game now. Okay, we start a new game. Historical. We go by Hazat. Okay, play.
The Hazat.
My lord, to become emperor, you must first be elected regent. At that point, declare yourself emperor. If you manage to win 2 successive elections, the other royal houses will submit to your rule. However, should all of our nobles die, our house will become extinct. No, it's as it was. It's not much worse. It's stagnated. Let me see. Oh, you can always try to make the whole thing more book-centric. There you go. Now you can see the books, not the empty shelf. Alright. I'll try to fix this. It feels like skin is peeling off the roof of my mouth. What? That's strange. We're playing as Lucinda. Okay. So choose your house traits. My house traits are warrior ethic. Units receive expert experience rating fresh out of boot camp. Plus 20 planet unit loyalty if there is a noble present in the palace. Increases tax revenue by better organizing government. Free advances in advanced physics. Battle Master. Armor bonus if a noble is in your stack. Name of the game, Emperor of the Fading Suns. Emperor of the Fading Suns. It's an old 90s game, but apparently it's very good. Loose Spendthrift. Lose sales revenue with League due to spending on useful stuff. Useless stuff, I'm sorry. Lose sales revenue with League due to spending on useless stuff. I guess that's a negative. Negative traits and positive traits. Technological development and the process of research. Well-strategized research is a critical aspect of success for your house in the long term. From deciding more highly advanced units to creating a cure for the plague, technology will greatly help you in your quest to become emperor. From this text screen you can allocate your labs to research different technologies. 2. By selecting the database button you can strike technologies that are no longer useful, freeing up research points for more important projects. Reminder, be careful with technologies that have been proscribed by the church, or you may end up facing the Holy Inquisition. Archive. You're reading the archive, okay? Okay. Byzantium Secundus. Yes, we will read some of the archive. Yes, well, what can a humble cleric write about the Dolorous City, the Axis Astra, the orb from which the destiny of 1,000 suns is decreed? What words so carefully chosen, so woefully inadequate, can do aught but be eclipsed by their opposites? For in truth, Byzantium Secundus embodies convulsions and conundrums and contradictions as innumerable the race it oversees. Little wonder that the residents of the world of time seem mad. Dwelling, there is an experience at once transcendent and horrific. Byzantium Secundus is the seat of government, and yet none rules there is for more than a fortnight. Our very astronomical measurements are calculated in terms of distance from it, and yet the planet itself is so turbulent that nothing concrete can be ascribed to it. It is the pinnacle of earthly civilization, and yet wars of indescribable savagery rack its surface and slaughters its cultured residents by the thousands. I shall endeavor to present a few disparate images, which in and of themselves are inadequate as the fabled narrative of the blind monk who, discovering the pulp of the Chernobygian slither probing beneath his cassock, saw first thereby to describe the entire beast, and thus sent a coven of Avestite inquisitors to their doom, but which might provide by rudiments of mosaic by which okay, let's just close the thing for now. Let's see how much longer. Oh my god, okay, you know what? I'll just read the codex myself. Database. Microbiology, physics. Allows energy physics, mega chases, and composite armor. Click archive to view volume 3 physics. Oh my fucking god. Oh. Energy physics. Allows electron microscope, cyber. How many points do I have? Do I have any points? Oh. Click archive. Are you sure you want to research micro? Yes. Okay, what does that mean? This is my world, right? House management. From here, the house ruler can manage their economy by changing the budgetary parameters in the lower right. Compare their overall score to that of other house rulers in the upper right. Evaluate house treaties and relations in the lower left. Compare house totals of various items in the lower middle. To learn more about the various areas, right-click on them. Treaty matrix. The treaty matrix illustrates the current political status of each house relative to the other. What is I have no mouth and I must scream? For the political status of the church or the league axis that powers diplomacy screen. House unit count. This tabulates the number of units that a house controls and gives an astute ruler the opportunity to appraise growing threats and make diplomatic decisions. For what? Financing your campaign. Taxes have been considered by many throughout time to be one of the most evil of necessities. How you handle the burden you place on your producers is indeed a delicate matter. The basis for your tax revenue is the number of cities you control. To alter tax level, use the tax slide bar to increase or decrease your cut. Reminder, be careful in your choice of tax level. There is good and bad with either decision. See following notes for more detail. Rising taxes. When by your edict your tax collectors increase your share of the workers' hard-earned revenue, two things happen. One, your ability to produce units increases in the short run as government coffers fill more rapidly. This allows for the purchase of supplies and materials which are much needed in your race with the other houses for domination of the empire. 2. On the downside, your city workers begin to grumble under the increased tax burden and their loyalty to you and your cause begins to falter. This situation, if prolonged, leads inevitably to rebellion. Maybe you should play it at some point. My goodness. This is a pretty complex game, by the way. Just saying, this is a pretty big game. And I have no clue how to play it. I'm learning right now everything. Did you know? Is it the one that I'm playing or the one that Greater just described? Lowering taxes. So what about reducing the tax burden on your people? This is not a total penance either. Doing so results in the following. 1. Your ability to produce declines in the short run. There is not as much funding available to go around for all your projects. You may well fall behind your opponents in any number of technical or weapon-oriented areas too. On the upside, your city workers thrive under their lighter tax load and their loyalty to you increases. Because of this, your risks of rebellion are greatly reduced. It does look pretty intricate. My god. Okay. So this is the map on which the game is happening. It's a turn-based game. You cannot land on another's units. Oh, I think this is mine. This is mine. Because it's not under a fog of war. See, this is a fog of war. I think this is my domain. Or, as I would say, Demesne. So where's my capital or something? Farm, port, palace. You have chosen a location about a city. Your ships will take damage if they do not have landing capabilities. Do you still wish to land? Huh. How do I... How do I choose anything? Oh my god, it's so expensive. How do I choose anything? Oh, Karasu, if only Karasu was here, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Karasu recommended this game and I have no clue how to play it. As you can see. Okay, how do I unselect this unit? What the hell? No, I have to... I have to unselect this unit. No, I don't want to quit. I want to play the game. I also want to unselect this unit. Oh. Okay. How do I select things? Oh. Move your units. Move unit. Right click on the unit you wish to move to select it. Point it with the mouse to trace out a potential movement path. That location will produce a line of green dots on the terrain map showing the movement. You can move the mouse to the edge of the map to scroll the map. The buttons. Cities and their stacks. Unit stacks. The units defending the city are shown in the middle of the stack screen. Here you can interact with your units. Hover the mouse on a unit to show its statistics and feature. Drag units to load them onto the transport. Use the sentry button in the lower right to assign orders. Unique. For success during combat, paying attention to the following unit statistics can lead to victory. Health, loyalty, experience, armor, agility, attacks, accuracy and strength, and camouflage. Hover over a statistic for more information. Cities. The city icon located on the bottom of the stack screen. A significant amount of information is displayed here. For the city, pay attention to the loyalty of the city represented by a percentage, number, and health. Population represented by a colored bar, as both of these affect the amount of resources harvested or produced. Note that loyalty also determines the city can rebel. If the city can rebel. Cities are very important at increasing the healing rate of your units after they have suffered health loss due to combat or other factors. The city also can increase the defense of the units to protecting it. City's content. Additional information is shown based on whether the city is harvesting city or production city or cathedral. Cities are very important to the success of your house. Always ensure that they are properly defended and use the information provided herein to determine if a city is performing optimally per your goals. Palace. Artillery. Noble. Oh, engineer. Build cities and roads. Can be loaded onto a transport.
Unit spotted.
I think I had to watch a tutorial or something. This game totally eludes me. Okay, we're gonna quit for now. I have shown you the game, okay? I'm gonna get some. We're gonna play something simpler for now. We're gonna play something much simpler for now. Also, I think there are news. What a surprise. Did you know that Trump is doing great progress and we will have peace swiftly, but in reality, apparently Kyiv has been hit by a massive attack again because Trump is doing so great with the peace talks and war is about to end? Did you know? Did you know? Oh, a top Polish pilot was killed in a crash. That's fantastic. My goodness. That is interesting. Okay, let me see. Let me show you the screen so you can see what kind of news I'm dealing with here. There's some interesting news that I wanna look over. Look at this. Polish foreign minister invites Ukraine's brave ethnic Hungarian military commander barred by Budapest. Oh, this is so bad. Oh God, this is such a bad look for Hungary, and I'm gonna explain why. This is actually very interesting news because Orbán for the longest time has been playing the card of Hungarian Hungarian language speakers in Ukraine, but now that a Hungarian speaker, an ethnic Hungarian has actually participated in an attack on Russia, Orbán's Hungary has banned him from Hungary. This is very interesting, and I will want to cover this hopefully today. Very interesting news. Holy crap. This is very interesting news. Also, I'm pretty sure that there's some interesting Hungary news. Denmark accuses US of interference in Greenland amid Trump's renewed interest. Because of course. World leaders condemn overnight Russian air attack on Kyiv as death toll rises to 21. Because of course, this is what happens when Trump tries to quickly... Holy shit. More than 1,000 dead, including children. Residential areas and civilian infrastructure deliberately targeted. The offices of the European Union delegation. Of course we're gonna cover this. As Kyiv is the city that I usually stay. So if I would have had the money, I definitely would have been in Ukraine now, then I probably would have gone through this attack as well. So that's a thing. All of it is creating a picture, and that picture is that Trump may not be as great of a deal maker as some people think. Like Asmongold, for example. Maybe things aren't as good as people assumed they were. Maybe things are not ideal. Oh, someone has taken the bait of my Asmongold video. Oh, Jesus Christ. Someone wrote a comment, okay, lol, you do understand that every large person has bots. They aren't the ones adding them. You can't control what millions of people do. This is stupid. Somebody just read the title of my video and did not watch the video. I did it on purpose to see how many people just see the title, get angry, and comment. I love that people just basically mindlessly see the title, instinctively go to the comments, and I basically made a video with a title saying Asmongold botting views, and then the thumbnail says 20,000 gone, And in the video proper, I say, I don't think so. I don't think Asmongold has any real reason to buy it. I don't buy it. I don't think he does. But people just see the title and they get angry and they write comments. I don't know what I'll do if Trump turns out to be an idiot. I don't know what any of us will do. My gosh. That would be something. That would also mean that people... Cool. That would also mean that people voted for an idiot, but, you know. Let me see. 47 views for the Asmongold video. I would like to remind you to give the videos, the VODs, some love. People are so angry. Oh my god. I have no clue. Okay, I'm gonna... Jesus Christ. Whatever. What is my average? Oh, of course. So this is one of the news that I'd like to cover. Kyiv being attacked. Hungary. Where's the mouse? There you go. That's interesting. But there is one other news I wanted to... Russia's spy drones tracking US military operations in Germany. NIT reports. Europe's artillery shell production has surged sixfold in 2 years, says NATO chief. Oh, NATO chief, I don't trust him. Oh, there you go. I do like this. Polish activists urge... I wanted to talk about this recently, and I sort of did not have the opportunity. A Polish nun. A prominent Polish activist has called on national authorities to show greater compassion towards Ukrainian refugees following President Karol Nawrocki's veto of a bill. I think she said something along the lines of, come and tell to the face of the people that I take care of that they should just go home. Germany unveils Europe's largest ammunition plant. That is interesting to me. Hungary slaps entry ban on Ukrainian commander over Russia pipeline attack. I think I want to see the news about Hungary suing the European Union or taking it to court. I want to see. Russia used cluster munitions in deadly overnight strikes. Says Kyiv. Russia's massive overnight strike on Kyiv killed at least 15 people. Is this interesting? Update. Putin mocking peace efforts. Sikorsky after EU haiku damaged in missile attack on Kyiv. Hungary will run out of oil in a month, bearing resumed Russian supply, officials say. I want to see the news about Hungary. There you go. Hungary takes EU to court over Ukraine aid funded by frozen Russian assets. As you can see, Hungary truly is an ally to Ukraine. Truly a country that takes great care. Really a European ally. Really solidarious country. We're all in this together, right? We are all in this together. Wonderful. As you can see, all I come here is bearing great news. Are you all excited about the fact that I only have good news for you? That I only have good things to tell you? Hungary is screwing everything up as always, vetoing everything, taking the EU to court, trying to... Yeah, I love good news. Well... Jesus Christ Almighty. Alright. Leave some positive comments. People are just too lazy to watch a video. We'll start with this. Viktor Orban. Viktor Orban is the leader of Hungary. For the longest time, he is a shrewd politician that has been able to keep to power. I think some people are calling him the last dictator of Europe. A very fitting title considering that he has cracked down on the freedom of the press. He has basically gotten rid of many freedoms. He has built an, I would say, oligarchical system in which the client that support his regime are given certain privileges, funds, and in exchange, he is able to perpetuate his rule. No, Lukashenko is not part of the European Union. Lukashenko does not count because he's not really integrated with Europe. He doesn't really participate in European affairs. He is as much isolated as Russia has been until now, of course, but the European Union does not do business with Lukashenko. I'm pretty sure that Orban has the prestigious title of being the last dictator within the European Union. Let me actually check. Let me actually check that. Yeah. Is Hungary the only dictatorship in the European Union? Yeah, in 2015 already, Orban has been called a dictator. Jesus Christ. Orban has crossed all red lines. Hungary is becoming the first dictatorship in the European Union. That was in 2020. That was 5 years ago. What a pathetic development, isn't it? What a pathetic development. But in any case, Viktor Orban does not really have clear alliances. He does not have really clear loyalties. His only loyalty is to himself, to keeping in power. He used to be this anti-establishment guy. There's a speech that I've seen of him when he was still young and full of energy, when he was talking truth to power about the evils of, well, those in power. But now he has become that which he allegedly hated when he was young. Now he's just an old man that is trying all his best to cling to power by whatever means. And to that effect, he will shift loyalties, he will shift alliances in order to make best sure that his special brand of, let's say, dictatorship will not be undermined. And one of those ways is to cling to Russia, is to be against Ukraine in this war. Hungary has not been providing any military support. I think it has been providing some humanitarian support and it has accepted refugees, but it has absolutely refused to provide Ukraine with any sort of military support. And now Hungary takes EU to court over Ukraine aid funded by frozen Russian assets, something that has been discussed for a very long time. Russian financial assets that have been frozen within the European Union. I think the total amount of the frozen assets is 300 billion. And the European Union has decided to use the revenue created by these assets in order to send them to Ukraine, to give it resources to defend itself against the Russian invasion. And Hungary is not happy about that. Hungary is not happy about the European Union using those frozen assets in order to support Ukraine. Hungary has filed a lawsuit against the Council of the European Union and the European Peace Facility over a decision to grant Ukraine billions of euros in aid funded by interest from frozen Russian assets. And I will remind you that Hungary has also vetoed moving forward of Ukraine to join the European Union. I will also remind you that Hungary has been vetoing new sanction packages against Russia. And I'm pretty sure that in the past, Hungary has also been vetoing or blocking new aid packages. I feel like a fake Alec Kyle Parker says, I feel like a good clause in joining the European Union is that they should be allowed to coup you if your nation becomes a dictatorship. True. Or the European Union should threaten to kick you out, which, by the way, Hungary, Orban says that sort of... Viktor Orban has weirdly threatened to leave the European Union. That was a thing even this year, when Viktor Orban signaled that his country might not really need the European Union at some point. That was a thing that happened. Just a quick reminder, a friendly reminder that Viktor Orban absolutely said that. Of course, nothing came out of it because I think that Hungary very much needs the European Union for many reasons. I hope, Konrad says, I hope Germany blocks the chat bullshit. What's chat bullshit? What's chat bullshit? Sorry. So, the council decided last year to give 99.7% of interest payments from the assets of the Russian central bank. So, there are frozen assets, as I've explained before. They generate interest, and that interest is to be sent to Ukraine, which already in itself is a compromise. Because the idea at the beginning, or at least a request by Ukraine at the beginning, was for the European Union to just send the frozen assets themselves, the 300 billion euro, which you can imagine would have made a pretty big difference in the war if Ukraine suddenly received 300 billion. But the European Union has been very hesitant to do that. It breaks certain rules, it breaks certain regulations. That is not something that European Union has been willing to do. Which is why, as a form of a compromise, as a form of a different idea of what to do with those frozen assets, instead the European Union has opted to use the interest rates that that amount of money produces and to send it to Ukraine. The assets had been frozen following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine to the EPF, a financial program designed to deliver military aid to allied countries. The decision implemented by the EPF in February provides a continuous source of 3 to 5 billion annually in military backing for Kyiv. As you can see, 3 to 5 billion annually is not exactly the same as suddenly receiving 300 billion euro. The EU thing where they want to get access to your chats. Oh, I know about this. We could talk about it later. I know that Poland is one of the only countries that are opposed to it. This ridiculous law. Ridiculous law, and I'm really hoping as well that, yeah, I'm not sure if, I'm pretty sure Germany was for it last time I checked, so I'm really not sure if I would keep up hope for this not happening. Okay, I'm not really sure if I would keep hoping. Budapest lodged a legal complaint against the move in May, which was formally accepted by an EU court on Monday. Officials duly published the complaint in the official journal of the European Union, thereby opening the case. Hungary's lawsuit echoes an identical move made in August last year against the same parties for an earlier EPF decision to aid to Ukraine taken in June 2024. That case is still being heard. So, in other words, Hungary is very much against the European Union aiding Ukraine in any way and will veto, push lawsuits, do anything it can to block it, stop it, sabotage it. And I feel like it might be becoming increasingly easier for Hungary to do as Trump is now the president of the United States and pretty openly anti-Ukraine president. The only thing that Trump has allegedly done to cool Hungary down a little bit was when Trump recently had a call with Orban and told him not to block Ukraine from joining the European Union. Veto rights at stake. In both cases, Budapest argues that the EPF breached EU law by disregarding its veto on the grounds that it was not a contributing member state. As a result, the principle of equality between member states and the principle of the democratic functioning of the European Union were infringed because a member state was deprived unjustifiably and without a legal basis of its right to vote. The latest suit reads, see? We wanted to stop the European Union from aiding Ukraine. We were not given that right, and now we will sue the European Union over it. The case has the potential to set a precedent by protecting the power of veto. Hungarian media observed, even though it may take years to reach the verdict, in the meantime the EPF has already paid over 11 billion in military aid to Kyiv, and the money could continue to be paid via an alternative instrument, the Ukraine facility. Hungary's government, which maintains warm relations with the Kremlin, has a sustained history of blocking EU support for Ukraine, which has led to strained relations between Budapest and many other countries in the bloc, including Poland. Even the Law and Justice Party government has not accepted Hungary's negativity towards Ukraine. I remember that before the war, Hungary and Poland were like two good friends. They were very tight and they protected each other. They had each other's back. And whenever the European Union wanted to punish Hungary for something, Poland would defend it. And whenever the European Union wanted to more harshly punish Poland for something, Hungary would have its back. And all that's changed a little bit when, I believe at the beginning of the war, Viktor Orban has declared Zelensky his enemy, to which even the Law and Justice government turned around and said, wait, what? What do you mean your enemy? What are you saying? And that created a little bit of a crack in the relationship between the Law and Justice ruled Hungary and the Law and Justice ruled Poland. Sorry, the Law and Justice does not have power in Hungary. And Orban ruled Hungary. And then the parliamentary elections in Poland were lost. The Law and Justice lost the parliamentary elections, and the current coalition came into power, and that coalition was openly antagonistic to Viktor Orban's regime. It's very interesting that Hungary has been so anti-Ukraine, that Hungary has been so anti-Ukraine that it has even, I would say, undermined its own arguments that it has been using against Ukraine. And that argument, that chief argument that Hungary has been leveraging against Ukraine has been the treatment of the Hungarian speakers, of the Hungarians living in Ukraine. And it seems that in one of its latest moves, Hungary has completely thrown that argument to the wind when a commander of Hungarian origin has attacked a Russian refinery. I think it's a refinery that has been attacked. And as a response, Hungary has issued a ban for that Hungarian person to enter the country. And Poland delegation has received them instead. But the whole hypocrisy of saying we care about Hungarians in Ukraine and then choosing loyalty to Moscow over a Hungarian that is fighting on the side of Ukraine. I think you can see the hypocrisy in that, right? I think that undermines the whole argument of Viktor Orban caring so much about the Hungarians in Ukraine. And we have a whole thing about that as well. There you go. Hungary slaps entry ban on Ukrainian commander over Russia pipeline attack. So we're gonna watch a video. We're gonna watch a video on that. On that little event. What do you think? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that cool? For show? Well then watch this.
Hungary has banned the Ukrainian commander behind the Druzhba pipeline attack from entering the country and the Schengen area.
This was an attack on Hungary's sovereignty, endangering our energy security and nearly forcing the use of our strategic reserves. Ukraine knows very well that the Druzhba pipeline is vital for Hungary's and Slovakia's energy supply. Anyone who attacks our energy security and sovereignty must expect consequences.
In his statement, the Hungarian foreign minister did not disclose the commander's name, but it was later confirmed to be Robert Provdi, a Hungarian-born officer who leads Ukraine's unnamed systems forces and is better known by his call sign Magyar, which means Hungarian in the Hungarian language.
I am Ukrainian and I will arrive in my father's homeland after you. There are plenty of real Hungarians in Hungary.
The conflict began after...
There you go. See? This is very interesting. I find this very interesting. I find it very interesting that Hungary... There are many aspects to this story, by the way. One is that Hungary and Slovakia remain their energy dependence on Russia. But the other aspect is the fact that I'm not really sure if the European Union has prepared viable alternatives for energy for countries such as Slovakia or Hungary. This is a whole other discussion to be had, which I'm not sure I am actually equipped to have. But there is also the aspect of Hungary weaponizing Hungarians against Ukraine. And now in a very bizarre move, Hungary banning a Hungarian from entering Hungary over this attack.
Recent attack on Russia's Druzhba oil pipeline in the Bryansk region. Pipeline supplies more than half of Budapest's oil imports, leaving Hungary heavily dependent on Russia. Its operations were halted for 5 days. Following the attack, the Hungarian government issued many threats against the Ukrainian authorities.
See, there you go. Hungary has been openly hostile to Ukraine from the very beginning of the war.
This is the only member state in the EU opposing or criticizing actions which are serving the interests of Ukraine, supported by the West, and Hungary is taking the side of Russia.
President Zelensky...
I mean, there's also Slovakia, arguably. Arguably, Hungary right now is not the only country that does that. Slovakia also is very much pro Russia. He does. You'd be surprised how he used to look in the past. I watched some of his older speeches and I was pretty shocked by how he used to look versus how he looks now.
...criticized the decision, calling on the foreign ministry to respond to the Hungarian government.
Every day we hear new accusations against Ukraine coming from Hungary. Hungarian officials have gone so far as to attempt to discriminate against members of the Hungarian community in Ukraine for the participation in the defense of our state and our people.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I find this very interesting that so far Hungary has Orban in particular has used the Hungarian in Ukraine card so much, but right now this card has somewhat turned against Hungary since all the Hungarians that are actually participating in the war actively are being discriminated against by said Hungary.
While Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha vowed to respond, arguing the country would take mirror action against Hungary.
Peter, if the Russian pipeline is more important to you than the Ukrainian children killed by Russia this morning, this is a moral decay. Hungary is on the wrong side of history.
It is. There is There is something to be said about Hungary's energy security, but that is not the way to go about it. This is definitely not the way to go about it, to suddenly become this ally of Russia, to do not seek any alternatives, energy alternatives, do not even discuss the matter with the European Union to seek some form of agreement by which Hungary could remain its energy security. I just don't feel this is the way to go about it. But then again, Hungary already is not a healthy democracy. It is not a country that is operating in a very optimal way, considering that the person that is in charge is, as I described, a person that perpetuates an oligarchical system in which a number of clients validate his rule through him showering them with funds, opportunities, prestige, and power.
Budapest's latest decision has further escalated the already tense relations between the two countries, as Hungary's continued purchases of Russian gas fuel Moscow's war machine.
We are dealing with political corruption. One could even call it geopolitical corruption. In
Of course, by the way, there is no question, there is no denying that Hungary is, I think, one of the, if not the most corrupt country in the European Union currently.
Since Russia gains Orbán, an influential agent within the European Union and NATO, who consistently advances Russian interests in exchange for cheap oil, the construction of a nuclear power plant in Hungary, and many other benefits.
This report for TVP World, Anastasia Yanchenko.
All right. And of course, there's a whole other topic that the European Union in the past has indeed enabled Orbán. But there you go. Polish foreign minister invites Ukraine's brave ethnic Hungarian military commander barred by Budapest. An ethnic Hungarian commander of a Ukrainian drone unit, whom Hungary barred over a strike on key oil pipeline, has been invited to Poland instead by Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski. While Russian missiles rain death on Kyiv, Hungary bans a brave ethnic Hungarian who dares to fight for Ukraine's freedom. Commander Magyar, if you need some R&R and Hungary won't let you in, please be our guest in Poland. Sikorski described Robert Magyar Brody as a brave ethnic Hungarian who dares to fight for Ukraine's freedom. Sikorski's post on X came on the same day a defiant Brody told Hungary's foreign minister Peter Szijjártó, shove your sanctions and restrictions on visiting Hungary up your ass. In other words, I don't really give a fuck that you banned me from Hungary. I don't regret what I've done. Brody has reportedly been banned for 3 years from entering the Schengen area, which allows passport-free movement between many European countries. Brody's repulse was in reaction to Szijjártó's declaring on Thursday that the attack on the Druzhba pipeline was an attack on Hungary's sovereignty and endangered the country's energy security. Ukraine knows very well that the Druzhba pipeline is vital for Hungary's and Slovakia's energy supply. This is the statement. We've already read it. Hungary and Slovakia, whose governments are openly pro-Moscow, are highly dependent on Russian energy and have continued to import hydrocarbons despite EU efforts to cut off Russia's energy income from the bloc. Both countries have also consistently opposed EU support for Kyiv and opposed sanctions against Russia. Ukraine has a significant Hungarian minority population, including around 100,000 in the Transcarpathian region in western Ukraine, where Brody is from. So as you can see, there's a lot of interesting the topics baked into this. Energy security, how it's addressed, how the country is facing their security, their energy security, address these problems, conflict of interest within the European Union, lack of unity within the European Union, because let's be frank, this sort of thing absolutely causes a lack of unity within the European Union. Hypocrisy when it comes to seemingly caring about minorities in other countries, while when you don't like what those minorities do, turning against them immediately. I would like to see how this story will develop. I will certainly keep following this story. It's very interesting to me. Slabs ban on Ukrainian commander over Russian pipeline attack. Let me check what time it is, because I will have to leave the house in 3 hours. In about 3 hours, I will have to leave the apartment. Well, not the apartment. I'm not in an apartment. I'm at a house. But you know what I mean. How's everybody doing? How do you like the nice news that I've been feeding you? How do you like the good news? Do you feel good about yourselves? Are you feeling the news? Are you feeling rejuvenated? I wouldn't say good. Why not? There you go. How good goes some water? Why water? Because it's all bad news? Well, that is unfortunately the nature of the world that we live in. Bad news. What is this?
Radical change.
Oh, Castlevania. Unfortunate as it is, that is how it goes. Muslims for Trump debate? There's a debate? Well, damn. Metal Gear Solid Delta. That is a game that seems to be catching some popularity. Did Putin break Belarus economy? Belarus economy is collapsing. Oh, this is interesting. I want to see that. I want to see that. All right, let's watch some news more. World leaders condemned overnight Russian air attack on Kyiv as death toll rises to 21. Also, if you like what I do, consider donating because I want to go to Ukraine as soon as possible. I want to go back to Ukraine as soon as possible. Okay, as I'm toughening myself up through psychiatrists. Okay, please consider throwing some dollars my way. All right, will you consider? Let's see. Let's watch this.
I am at the scene of yet another deadly Russian attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Behind me, search and rescue operations are underway as rescue workers look to try and find potentially more people trapped under the rubble. Dozens of casualties reported here in Kyiv.
Look at that.
Overnight, including several children among the fatalities. That number of dead continues to slowly rise throughout the day. Now, the Ukrainian authorities say that Russia launched 598 drones, 11 ballistic missiles and 20 cruise missiles onto Ukrainian territory. Among those buildings that were targeted was a building belonging to the European Union delegation here in Kyiv. That has drawn strong criticism
Very
from
interesting.
the Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski, saying that Russia was mocking the European Union and President Trump's peace
Correct.
efforts in Ukraine. Now, President Zelensky has released a statement this morning calling out Hungary and China by name, asking for more response, more pressure put on Russia to stop attacks like this. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
We expect a reaction from China to what is going on. China has repeatedly called for not expanding the war and for a ceasefire. Yet this is not happening because of Russia. We expect a reaction from Hungary. The death of children should definitely stir far greater emotions than anything else. We expect a response from everyone in the world who has called for peace, but now more often stays silent rather than taking principled positions.
That is the unfortunate reality. Hungary does not care. Hungary will never care, at least not until Orban is in charge. China is silently aiding Russia, so that's definitely not something that will happen. Trump has openly said that he cannot do anything about the attacks on the cities. Trump has openly said that he cannot do anything about bombing Ukrainian civilians. So, of course, the response will be lackluster. Of course, people will just be outraged, but nothing will come of it. That is the brutal reality of the situation. Russia is pretending to want peace, pretending to take part in negotiations only to stall, and in the meantime, increasingly bomb cities with increasing brutality.
So there is understandably a lot of anger here in Kyiv following Russia's overnight attacks.
I think more than just Kyiv. I think people should be angry more than just in Ukraine. People especially in neighboring countries to Russia should be angry. But I feel that anybody that has any semblance of humanity in them should be angry at what's happening with this whole peace negotiation crap, with this. I have had so many people tell me that Trump has made a difference, that Trump has pushed the process forward, that he has put things into motion, that he has broken an impasse. But what is the reality of it? Nothing has changed. Trump has achieved nothing. Trump has only broken Russia's isolation on the international stage. And in the meantime, Russia just keeps pushing out on the front line and attacking and killing civilians. That is the reality of the situation. Nothing has changed in a positive direction in this war due to Trump's peace talks. It has only actually changed for the worse, considering that how the United States under Trump approaches support for Ukraine.
Ukraine wants the international community to act stronger in response to attacks like these. Ukraine wants further sanctions, not just on Russia, but secondary sanctions placed on Russia's oil partners.
The United States will not do it. Trump does not want to upset his friend Vladimir, and the European Union is a, so far, toothless organization, let me just put it that way. the European Union should be much more firm. The European Union should be much more decisive in its action, especially now that the United States has effectively backstabbed Ukraine.
Which Ukraine sees as Russia using as a vital lifeline to continue attacks like this against Ukrainian civilians with impunity. It's Oz Kataji reporting from Kyiv for TV.
Let's see if we have some quotes. The attack drew censure from world leaders, with the UK summoning the Russian ambassador and Prime Minister Keir Starmer accusing Moscow of sabotaging hopes of peace. Well, talk is cheap. Russia will never care about their ambassadors and ministers being called for a stern talk. Russia will never care about that. Russia only understands action. It will never care about diplomatic outcries. It will never care about condemnation. It will just continue what it has been doing for years now. It's a very naive view to think that something will change in that regard. While the world seeks a path to peace, Russia responds with missiles. Kalas posted on the X platform, the overnight attack on Kyiv shows a deliberate choice to escalate and mock the peace efforts. Russia must stop the killing and negotiate. I'm sorry, talk is cheap. It is very easy to angrily says what should happen, but if you cannot enforce it with action, that will never happen. You will never get what you want with Russia unless you're willing to pressure it in some way. Be it via very painful sanctions or changing the situation on the battlefield in Ukraine's favor. Terror and barbarism. France's President Emmanuel Macron denounced the assault as terror and barbarism. 629 missiles and drones in a single night over Ukraine. This is Russia's idea of peace. Terror and barbarism. More than a dozen dead, including children. Residential areas and civilian infrastructure deliberately targeted. So, in other words, all the European Union leaders have strongly condemned. I'm not sure what decisive form of reaction will follow it, but we will see. I doubt anything will change. I doubt this will cause anything of substance to happen. It's just a very disappointing development. I'm just very disappointed. As always. Some turn a blind eye. President Zelensky also used X as a platform to blast Russia and its allies, accusing Moscow of choosing war over peace and calling for stronger sanctions. Russia chooses ballistics instead of the negotiating table. He wrote, Russia still takes advantage of the fact that at least part of the world turns a blind eye to murdered children and seeks excuses for Putin. The post continued. Moscow responds. Moscow denied it was trying to scupper peace talks by saying it remains interested in negotiations but continues its special military operation regardless, because this is openly saying that, mind you, targeting civilians, murdering children is a deliberate part of the Russia's special military operation. Just keep that in mind. This is what de facto it means. We continue to bomb civilians as part of our special military operation. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russian forces had targeted military and military-related infrastructures, which he said were successfully destroyed. I know a different country that uses this sort of rhetoric. At the same time, Russia remains interested in continuing the negotiation process in order to achieve our goals through political and diplomatic means, he said, reiterating Moscow's refrain that its forces do not target civilians, which is bullshit. It absolutely does. The human safari in Kherson. Are you really trying to tell me that this is not targeting civilians when drones drop explosives on citizens of Kherson? Is that really a thing that Russia will try to bold-faced lie about? I recently saw a video of a person going out with their dog and a Russian drone throwing out explosives at them. The man scrambling to run away with his terrified dog that just froze in place and he had to drag it by the leash. It's horrible. And Russia will just turn around and say, no, we're not targeting civilians. That's not happening. That's not happening at all. And we're super interested in peace. We'd like to negotiate. In addition to Kyiv, air raid sirens sounded in other regions across Ukraine on Wednesday night, many of them far from the eastern and southern front lines, which is a jab at the United Kingdom, at England, that started turning away Ukrainian refugees, saying that Ukraine is very safe in the western regions. The national power grid operator stated that energy infrastructure had been damaged and that approximately 60,000 homes were without electricity. So as you can see, this is how the peace process is proceeding. The United States gets nothing done. The European Union is pretty ineffective in its push to force Russia into meaningful negotiation. In the meantime, Russia just stalls for more and more time, keeps attacking Ukrainian cities and pushing on the front line, and rejects any ideas of a ceasefire. That is the reality on the ground in Ukraine. And I think that we should all be unhappy about this development. All right. How is the audience right now? Anybody still left? After all the news that I've dished out? Anybody still here? I'm doing a check. I'm here. What do you think? How's the segments, Fake Kyle Parker? You'll be editing them. Give me your... I'm present. Thank you. Give me your feedback, Fake Kyle Parker. We need your feedbacks. Depressing? Well... I would like to go there soon. So you need to lock in. Please try to lock in as I need to gather funds to go back in there and do the work. I need to go back there and do the work. That is a necessity of mine. All right. We have went through all the critical news. And now we can take a break to, I guess, play a game. I could talk. Would you like me to talk about the shooting in Minneapolis that I don't really know much about it, but weirdly enough, people in my comments on YouTube have involved me in that shooting in a very strange way. Because I started receiving comments under my very particular video saying that the commenter had hoped that I was shot in the recent Minneapolis shooting and that they're hoping that maybe next time, things will happen. Very strange. That is the way I learned about this whole incident. By people commenting under my video saying that they hoped that I was a victim of it. So yeah, talk about the shooting. I have to find fake Cal Parker. You're my fixer. Give me a good article on it. Give me a good source for me to learn what happened with that shooting. I know one thing. I know one very concrete thing about that shooting. I know that allegedly the shooter was trans and a Nazi, and that all the far-right pundits are hyper-focusing on the trans part and hyper-ignoring the Nazi part. But I know that is a thing. Okay, give me fake Cal Parker. Give me a good source where I can learn about this whole mess. NPR. Oh, National Public Radio. Copy address. I don't know much about this, so we'll be learning. I'll be learning. I bet. Oh my god. What the hell? I bet everybody here will be or already pretty informed as to what happened here. But I would like to see. Middle schoolers are lauded for protecting younger kids during church shooting. When gunfire shattered a routine mass marking the first week of class at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis, middle school students were among those who acted heroically, according to an emergency official. Okay, this is not telling me about the situation. This is just telling me that some kids in general were very heroic. As interesting as I find it that middle schoolers were very helpful and good during the shooting, I would like some media stories that would give me more of a bird's eye overview of the event itself, not a specific act of heroism within the event. Does that make sense? I feel like we're looking into the details before really having looked into the case itself. Does that make sense? Okay, I guess I'm gonna look it up myself. Okay. Let's. ABC News, what we know about Minnesota school shooting? Yeah? Is that good enough? There we go. There we go.
Searches were conducted into the evening as the FBI and police delved into the suspect's life, trying to understand who this person is and why they sought to murder children at Mass in a Catholic church. A critical piece of evidence involves a video the suspect allegedly posted on YouTube that my sources believe was intended to be seen after the attack was carried out. The video depicts someone obsessed with violence. In the chilling moment, the suspected shooter is seen driving a knife into a...
Okay, what's wrong with the... Okay, we have to watch this again, I guess. The browser was off.
Searches were conducted into the evening as the FBI and police delved into the suspect's life, trying to understand who this person is and why they sought to murder children at mass in a Catholic church. A critical piece of evidence involves a video the suspect allegedly posted on YouTube that my sources believe was intended to be seen after the attack was carried out. The video depicts someone obsessed with violence. In the chilling moment, the suspected shooter is seen driving a knife into a sketch of church pews. You also see the suspect handling bullets, magazine, and an arsenal of guns. And there are numerous references to previous mass shootings, including the Sandy Hook School massacre. The suspect repeatedly talks about wanting to kill people generally, and there are references to wanting to murder President Trump. Part of the material left for YouTube includes a 4-page letter to the shooter's family in which the suspect warns them there's an imminent plan for violence that will cause them great pain. The letter portrays a person who's angry, depressed, and struggling with how to navigate everyday life, and who has contemplated mass murder for years. The suspect was born Robert, a male, on June 17, 2002, but records show a Minnesota court changed the alleged shooter's name to Robin in 2020 after a request was made to be identified as female. Every part of the suspect's life.
There we go. There we go. People will focus on the trans part and will ignore everything else. I've seen the headlines. Another trans shooter. Trans people are unhinged. Trans people just want to murder everybody. This is an aspect that cannot be ignored of this whole thing, of this whole mess.
Facing scrutiny as police tried to resolve whether anyone knew the darkness inside this person was about to erupt, a person that police said had no criminal history to speak of. Rebecca?
Police have identified the suspect who they say opened fire outside of a church at a Catholic school in Minneapolis, killing 2 children and injuring 18 others, as 23-year-old Robin Westman. An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old were shot and killed when the gunman fired through the windows of a church and the Annunciation Catholic school on Wednesday morning, police said. What was the motive of targeting this particular school? The shooter died at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said. So, a classic tale of a shooter killing a bunch of people and then ending their own life. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem also confirmed the identity of the suspect, calling Westman a deranged monster. This is the person, it seems. This level of violence is unthinkable. Our deepest prayers are with the children, parents, families, educators, and Christians everywhere. We mourn with them, we pray for healing, and we will never forget them. This is a very interesting conundrum that, I have seen people make videos with such titles. Another trans shooter. We can even check it in a moment. It is very interesting to see how society creates people like this and will never introspect and wonder what drives people to do things like this. What circumstance makes people end up in a situation like this? Maybe there is something that pushes people to such acts. But it is far easier to brand the people in question as, let me see what the phrasing is. It is much easier to call the person a monster and be done with it, and not wonder if there's anything that could have been done preventably to not end up in this situation. Where is it? Deranged monster. It's very easy to just brand the attacker as deranged monster. They were just deranged. There was no... They were just a monster. There was nothing that could have been done. There was nothing that led to this. It was just a random monster that just did its thing. Driver's license information reviewed by ABC News described Westman as a female born on June 17, 2002. A name change application for a minor born on the same date was approved by a district court in Minnesota in 2020, changing the name of a Robert Westman to Robin Westman, explaining the minor child identifies as a female and wants her name to reflect that identification. Police said Westman is believed to be the only suspect in this shooting. Westman does not appear to have an extensive or known criminal history, police said. Officials said they are looking through information left behind to try to determine some type of motive for this shooting. O'Hara told ABC News the suspect clearly had a deranged obsession with previous mass shooters. Ultimately, this person committed this act with the intention of causing as much terror, as much trauma, as much carnage as possible for their own personal notoriety, O'Hara said. O'Hara said during the press conference on Thursday that the shooter fantasized about the plans of other mass shooters. Mother worked at the church. In the name change application from 2020, Mary Grace Westman was listed as Robin Westman's mother. An August 2021 post by the church reviewed by ABC News announced Westman's retirement after 5 years of service at the church. A 2020 post by the church's outgoing pastor described Westman as a parish secretary. A 2016 church bulletin announced her hiring as an administrative assistant in the church's business office. And there's a YouTube video. Officials are investigating a series of videos posted to YouTube believed to be associated with Westman, according to law enforcement sources familiar with the matter. 2 videos posted Wednesday morning and since removed by YouTube show someone flipping through dozens of pages of notes dated over the course of several months, which include what appears to be doodles of weapons, middle fingers, and expletives. There are also repeated references to killing. Hello, Jack, don't do it. The videos, which depict handwritten journals and a display of high-powered weaponry, paint a portrait of a person with a rambling and deeply nihilistic outlook, according to analysis by law enforcement and ABC News. The writings in the notebooks and on firearms, which are written in a blend of Cyrillic alphabet, English, and other languages. The Cyrillic alphabet really intrigues me. Indicate a series of grievances, anger, and ideations of harm to self and to others. The writings also appear to show over references to other high-profile school shootings and shooters. In one notebook, there is a sticker that says "Defend Equality" with an LGBTQIA flag overlaid with a gun. A gun also has writings against Israel. This story can be spanned so quickly in so many negative ways. I don't even want to begin unpacking just how this story can be weaponized against certain groups of people. Taking up a full page of notebook is a hand-drawn bird's eye view of the inside of a church with pews. The drawing appears to show the interior layout of Annunciation Church. In one of the videos, the shooter refers to personal depression and apologizes to family members. YouTube did not respond to a request for comment from ABC News. Oh my God. Let me guess. Suspect work at cannabis dispensary. Is this also going to be blamed on pot? It's definitely being used as a political weapon right now. I am sure of that. Westman was a former employee at a cannabis dispensary in the Minneapolis area for several months this year, but was not employed by the company at the time of the shooting. A spokesperson for the parent company of Rise Medical Cannabis Dispensaries confirmed to ABC News. And this is the statement about how the company fully cooperates with the law and how it's tragic. We don't have to read it. That's, Former classmate says suspect showed red flags in grade school. Josefina Sanchez, who said she was a former classmate of Westman while they were both in grade school in St. Paul, told ABC Minneapolis affiliate KSTP the shooter had few friends and odd obsessions, things she would now categorize as red flags. I knew that something was off, but I was a kid. How was I to know what to do? Sanchez told KSTP. She told KSTP the video of Westman's journal, written in a blend of Cyrillic alphabet, brought back memories of the suspect writing in code, so no one could understand it. It was just kinda triggering, Sanchez told KSTP. I wish I could have said something sooner, but I was little, so how was I supposed to know? This is definitely going to be weaponized, won't it? By all the transphobes. This is going to be weaponized against pro-Palestinian activists. This is a mess. This is a giant mess. I can already see this. I'm gonna look into some things after we read this, but already has, well, admittedly, I am a little bit late with looking into this. Shooter appeared to hate all of us. U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Joe Thompson, said the shooter's writings described his plan. I mean, her plan? Isn't this a trans woman? A trans girl? Like, they're gonna misgender the person now? This is going to be used as an opportunity to just misgender the person? Okay, I'm just gonna change the pronouns as they are written here. U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Joe Thompson, said the shooter's writings described her plan. Mental state and pure, indiscriminate hate. The shooter's heart was full of hate, Thompson said. Thompson also said the suspect was obsessed with the idea of killing children. They hated being trans. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, fake Alec Kyle Parker, that is a sentiment that not a small amount of trans people have. Like, I've met trans people that said they hated being trans, that they hate suffering from dysphoria, that they just, if they could stop, they would. So that is not exactly an indication on anything, you know? I know trans people that want to be respected as trans, but still said that if they could stop, they would. Oh, they regretted the transition. Okay, I'm just gonna use they them, okay? Moving forward, I'm just gonna use the full they them. I don't even think they did it for political reasons. The person was just a sick person. You don't hurt children for no reason over politics. Tell that to Russia. I'm sorry. Tell that to Russia. You don't hurt children over politics? Okay. Tell that to the Russian Federation. Jesus Christ. Huh. The shooter saw the attacks as a way to target the most vulnerable among us, Thompson said. On Wednesday morning, the shooter approached the side of the church and fired the rifle through the windows towards the children and other worshippers sitting in the pews, O'Hara said. Westman was armed with a rifle, shotgun, and pistol, and police believe the shooter fired from all three weapons. Police said Westman bought the weapons lawfully, and they were purchased recently. Oh, this is also gonna revive the access to guns discussion again. So I guess prepare for that as well. At the scene of the crime, 3 shotgun shells were recovered, along with 116 rifle rounds. One live round of ammunition was recovered from a handgun that appeared to malfunction while the shooter was using it, police said. Yeah, it seems that way. It seems that they were a deeply disturbed individual. Which makes me ask, why were they under any type of therapy? Were they receiving any help? Has anybody noticed any disturbing behavior from them in the past? Has anybody done anything to address it? Those are pretty important questions in my opinion, because the answer to those questions could potentially mean preventing such things in the future, because people like this are not just some, you know what I mean? Like, if you can answer those questions, then you can hopefully prevent tragedies like this from happening in the future. This kind of evil should never happen, Mayer said. Frey stressed at the second news conference, anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity. Well, I'm sorry to say that people apparently have lost their humanity, because this is absolutely being used this is absolutely being weaponized against the trans community and other minorities. We should not be operating out of a place of hate. Well, too late for that. Kids died today, he continued. This needs to be about them. This needs to be wrapping our arms around these families. I honestly don't think that it should just be about wrapping our arms around these families. I honestly think it's time to finally ask some tough questions. What creates this type of person? What makes people go and do this sort of act? What can be done to prevent it? It's like we had these situations before, when we had individuals that have been very disturbed from early childhood, that had not really received adequate help during their life, and the result is what we see. We cannot just shy away from this. We cannot just turn away from the fact that the society that we live in produces this type of person. That you cannot just conveniently say, oh, this person was just an unhinged monster, and we don't really have to think any deeper than that about it. Like this should be an opportunity to think what things can be put in place to spot these kind of things early and to put the people that could potentially become like this on a different path. But what do I know? This will spawn completely different conversations altogether, I'm sure. Because people usually focus on very shallow and very, well, let's just say people just focus on very shallow aspects of things like this. To be quite honest with you. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but Jack Don't Do It says never let a crisis go to waste. It's so random that someone used the incident as a threat against you. Did you see that comment? It was a wild comment, wasn't it? Oh, it's such a weird comment. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna type it out. Another trans shooter. I'm gonna type it out. There you go. SSRI connection. Another trans shooter. Another massacre. And they erased his video. Redacted. We're gonna go through some of these narratives, and I'm gonna show you just what the discussions around this are. Okay. Another trans mass shooter. Her name was Robert Westman. Is that what they're affirming? There you go. This is what affirming trans people leads to. Mass shooters. Okay? Another transsexual mass shooter. Another one. Let's see. I don't know why it starts here, considering that I have not watched this video at all.
All right, well, we've got a lot of information flowing in right now on the Minnesota shooter. This morning, a horrific, absolutely senseless act of violence unfolded at the Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis. And while the corporate media is, of course, scrambling right now to hide the facts, we have the truth.
Yeah, the corporate media is trying to hide the facts, and by this... by that, this person tries to imply that the corporate media is, I don't know, hiding that the shooter was trans, which I just read in a corporate media article that the person was trans. So I have no clue what this person is trying to say with the whole corporate media is hiding the facts. We have them now. We have uncovered the truth. We have looked into the matter. We are the real... This is...
And here's what we know at this hour. So while children were in mourning mass...
You gotta sell the show, I suppose so.
Praying, this man is a biological man, who now was...
There is no such thing as a biological man, as man is a descriptor of gender, and gender has nothing to do with biology, but okay, sure. A biological man. That sounds so weird to say, even a biological man. As opposed to a mechanical man.
A biological man, who now was pretending to be a woman.
Pretending to be a woman, there you go. Cards on the table. We have a biological man pretending to be a woman. A transgender male. What the fuck does that mean? A transgender male. This is just parody. If you think about the discrimination and alienation trans people as a community experience, it's kind of a surprisingly peaceful demographic. Am I wrong? Yes. Trans men are just ignored, and everybody pretends that trans men don't exist, and trans women are too busy crying to do anything. I don't know. Oh, my goodness.
Identify.
These phrases are so weird. They're so bizarre. A biological man. A transgender male.
The shooter identified his sources as a transgender man using the name Robin Westman. He was
Oh
former
no, not a transgender man. See? They're even using the lingo incorrectly. If he'd be a transgender man, a trans man, then he'd be born as a female, quote unquote, and then transition to a man. But I don't think that's what they're trying to say here. Lucy is biologically lovely and cute, says fake Cal Parker, which I say I don't fully agree. Lucy, too busy crying to do other things, has a, like, I don't know, actually reading the books that I promised I'd be reading. That would be a nice change of pace, to just actually read the books that I promised that I'd be reading, instead of not doing it. Okay. Let's... Well, Lucy, you're wrong for disagreeing with me. Well, thanks. No, I am pretty sure that this redacted channel is actually trying to be transphobic. Jack, don't do it. I'm pretty sure. Because they already are claiming that the media are trying to hide the fact that the person was trans.
formerly Robert Westman, opened fire on the
I'm pretty sure that this segment is trying to frame this as a problem with trans people. You'll see. You'll see. I am making a prediction.
church and school during a morning mass, killing 2 innocent children, injuring 17 others. A couple of these children who are in the hospital right now in critical condition. So unfortunately, that number might change. And then in a final act of cowardice, the shooter then took his own life. Right.
That is not unprecedented. Elliot Rogers also killed himself. Elliot Rogers was not trans by any means. I'm not sure if anybody here actually remembers that whole thing with Elliot Rogers, but I'm using him as an example because he was absolutely not trans.
In the middle of the church, and he planned it that way. He knew exactly where he was going to go. He knew this church well. In fact, he had a map of it. He'd drawn a map of exactly where he would be with the pews and where he was going to take his own life. And he released a video, in the video showing exactly where he was going to do it. Using this knife, he slammed it right into the notebook to show the spot where he was going to take his own life after he mowed down the children. Again, he knew this church well because it turns out his mom worked there.
Also the misgendering. No to the misgendering.
For years, and she had recently retired. Here was her going away announcement from the Church of Annunciation. On Sunday, we honored Mary Grace Westman, who's retiring from the Annunciation Church. She's been there for years. Congratulations on your retirement. Now, she retired a few years ago, and she allowed her son, while he was a minor, to change his name.
There you go. There you go. Already. No. He described himself as a man, okay? I read his... You cannot tell me I assume anything about Elliot Rogers, okay? I read his whole billion pages manifesto back in the day. I read it from page 1 to page last, okay? I read the entire thing. You cannot tell me that I am assuming anything about the person, okay? I know everything. I know all that I need to know about that particular person. So there you go. I knew it. This is being framed as a thing caused by the person being trans.
Legally from Robert to Robin, according to the court records that are now public, which you can, of course, see for yourself. There, you see her name right there at the top, Mary Grace Westman. and allowing him to change his name to Robin.
There you go. To change his name to Robin. If you're trying to tell me now that this is just a little goof, this is just the person not understanding the lingo, that this is the person not trying to offend, then you can put those, I guess, doubts to rest and be assured that this person absolutely does mean to offend.
Westman, because again, he was a minor at the time. He was 17 years old at the time, so this was allowed. But let's listen to the police.
This is absolutely weaponized as an attack on the trans community, especially in this segment. It is clear as day what's happening here.
Earlier today, describing the scene and what they found.
Police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building. While other first responders came and EMS responded to
there is no ambiguity about what this person's trying to do.
Victims to nearby hospitals.
How did they gain a gun if they were 17? No. They were not 17 at the time of the shooting. Like, okay, I'll explain it. They were 17 at the time when they requested to transition. The records show that when they were 17, they requested to have their name changed.
Two young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews.
Yeah, I know, but again, Conrad is back. Some people are back, so I will reiterate what I said before. This shooting will not be used to ask any meaningful questions. It will not be used to ask, okay, how did this person become the way they had? How did it come to this? Did we not see any signs in the past in this person's behavior? Was there nothing that we could have done before to set this person on a different path? Was there nothing that we could have offered to do anything about this? How is it that our society produces people like this? That none of these questions are going to be asked. And so we're going to see people like this pop up time and time again, because this is not the first time that something like this is happening. And yet nobody asks these questions. Instead, we get, oh, this person was trans. That means that trans people are shooters. That means that we should probably discriminate against trans people more. Or, oh, a gun was used to do this. Well, I guess we should just talk about guns now. Or several other things that are not really discussing the core issues at hand, that are not really trying to address preventative measures that could have been taken to stop this from happening, especially in the future. Because things like this will keep happening in the future if the things that have led this person to end up shooting up a church will not be addressed. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? I hope I hope to God that people in the audience will say, yeah, of course this makes sense. And it's never like that. It's always just, oh, this person was just a freak monster, so we could just forget about it. You know, it's just.
Of course, the mainstream media and the police would normally hide the identity of the shooter if it doesn't fit their narrative, especially if it's in a liberal city like Minneapolis. But this time they couldn't because it got all over social media ahead of time. So this is the shooter that turns out to be a transgender male just before the
What the hell is a transgender male? I have no clue what that means. And I think that none of the viewers actually know what that means, a transgender male.
Robin posted a ranting video on YouTube, seemingly like possessed by demons, or something, rambling about having
Possessed by demons. A religious channel confirmed, I guess. Possessed by demons.
bugs under his skin. This is some kind of bizarre, unhinged behavior the legacy media always like seems to sweep under the rug. Oh, it's a trans.
There you go. There you go. I'm beginning to see a pattern of the alternative media crying about the evils of the media. That's how I always view it, at least. From a woman to man, that's how I always view it, at least. Well, then you've been confused by the wording, because the shooter was a trans woman. You can see the stupidity of this now, right? You can see how stupid this is. Like, you heard transgender male or whatever, and you concluded, oh, a trans man, someone that was born a woman and transitioned into a man. But no, this person was a trans woman. So the opposite of what you assumed.
Trans person with mental issues, probably on some kind of hormones and all sorts of drugs, who knows? And
all sorts of drugs, there you go. If this is not an anti-trans narrative, then I don't know what to tell you. Why would you accentuate the former gender? I don't know, because this is a very weird channel and they're peddling a transphobic narrative here. They're just saying, oh, the shooter did it because they were trans, unironically. The shooter did it because they were on hormones and all sorts of different drugs.
Saying that they've got bugs under their skin and they're ranting and raving. We're gonna
Yeah, it's all because they were trans, of course.
Because it doesn't fit our liberal narrative with the
That's bullshit. That is such bullshit. We just went to the mainstream media and it was clearly said that the person was trans. So this whole conspiracy narrative about the media trying to hide the facts, hide that the person was undergoing transition, that is complete nonsense. So there you go. We've already seen how this thing is weaponized to attack the trans community, and in fact to say, which is starting to be a narrative all too familiar to me, that the media is your enemy. Don't trust the media, trust me. I'm the real alternative media.
Trans agenda.
Trans agenda, there you go. The shooting happened because of the trans agenda.
So immediately they jumped into action, though, and they certainly jumped in as they tried to hide it as quickly as they could because they deleted all of his social media. All of his social media was scrubbed across multiple platforms, including YouTube. Immediately,
yeah, they tried to hide it. ABC News, the ABC News, such a niche platform. Are trans people a defended demographic by the liberal media? No. This is a ridiculous claim. This is a stupid claim.
Scrubbed it, wiped his whole channel down, so that video was gone. But it's kind of amazing to me because...
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure Elliot Rogers' YouTube was scrubbed as well. I'm pretty sure Elliot Rogers, a cis man's YouTube, was also scrubbed after he did his shooting. I wonder how you would spin that.
Because some of the things that were said in that video, I mean, if we were to put that kind of stuff on our channel, we would immediately be flagged for it. But I don't know how YouTube allowed this channel to be up there with him.
There you go. Which is very funny to say it about YouTube, considering that it absolutely favors lunatic creators such as this. Like, what a ridiculous thing to say about YouTube of all things, considering that right-wing creators are definitely favored on YouTube. This is ridiculous. It is silly. And also there's the fact that the person was a tiny channel.
Talking about basically killing Donald Trump and worse and all sorts of other stuff. But they let that go until, I guess, everyone jumped on it and realized that he had a YouTube channel, and then YouTube scrubbed it. YouTube did remove the video, so we're not going to show it to you here. He posted 2 videos. You can see them all over X if you want to watch it, but we're not going to do it here because YouTube has already taken it down. But we can show you some still images here in a moment. But the details get even more outrageous because the shooter had an ammo magazine with the words "Kill Donald Trump" scrawled on it.
Oh,
Another
no.
said "For the children, ha ha ha." You can see here, ha 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 ha, that's funny. And in the video, he's just like laughing about killing the children.
Okay.
We can also confirm that he had a target on the wall with the face of Jesus Christ.
Oh,
on
no.
top, in a target. Clearly intention to kill Catholics, to kill Christians, to kill children. That was his goal. Right on a target in his room. Like, what more of an example?
Yeah, having a Jesus Christ picture clearly shows that you want to kill children.
You need
That is weird to say.
ammunition. You're laying out exactly what you're going to do.
And that is what we call looking at a situation and then working backwards to a conclusion.
Christ is up on a target on the wall. You've got children written on your ammo magazine. What more of a motive do you need? Oh, but the police chief.
That's not a motive, you idiot. What do you mean? What more of a motive do you need? What was the motive? The motive was like this just points to him wanting to do the crime, but this does not point to a motive.
If just a few minutes ago in Minneapolis came back out to the podium to...
What was the motive then? Tell us what the motive was.
To tell the world that we have identified no motive, that there is no motive with this guy. No motive? We've all seen the video. Are you out of your freaking mind? You have a picture of Jesus Christ on your wall? There's no motive? Are you kidding me? You're going to kill children written on... You're targeting, Donald Trump. You want to go after Donald Trump.
That's not a motive, you idiot. That's intent. That just demonstrate that he intended to kill children and intended to kill Donald Trump and hated Jesus or something. That does not speak to the motive. Motive is the reason for doing the thing. Is this person really, really stupid, actually? Is this person really, really stupid? The answer is yes, of course. Yes, this person is really stupid. If you cannot distinguish between intent and motive, then you're really stupid. If you look at, hey, look, this person said he wanted to kill kids, and you say there's no motive? I hate stupid people. I hate stupid people with large platforms. I hate it that the stupider you are, the bigger platform you seem to be rewarded with. I really hate our reality that we inhabit. The bigger dumb fuck you are, the bigger audience you are rewarded with.
Trying to go after Christian conservative children?
Well,
yeah, that's not a motive.
You could also see in these videos that he went through, some of his journals, apology letters to his families. Again, these have not...
Again, there's a lot of contradicting messaging in this. He hated Trump, but as someone in my audience pointed out, he also was a fan of a Trump supporter. So make it make sense. Give me the motive. Give me the actual motive. If you're so positive that it's so easy to derive motive from this. Yes. Yes. You're absolutely correct, Greater Rain. You're absolutely correct, Greater Ain't, and you have greater understanding of these things than the host of this 2.74 million subscriber channel. Embarrassing. I'm very positive that you would do a better job running a 2.74 million subscriber channel than this person does, because you know what you're talking about and the person does not.
Been independently verified, but they were on the videos, and he was saying, I've been depressed for a long time. Also, I think I have lung cancer. And so I'm just not going to die of cancer. No, who knows if that's true, right? This kind of paranoia is very common when you are on SSRIs. So it is worth asking, was this person and this neuroses manufactured?
Oh, yeah, this was manufactured by the pharmaceutical companies and by the psychiatrist and by the psychologist. They all manufactured him being like this. This is very harmful. It's a type of medication. Let's look it up for you. SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Medications are a common type of antidepressants that work by increasing serotonin levels in the brain to improve mood and treat conditions like depression, anxiety, etc. So I guess this is a call for anti-mental health action. SSRI connection. There you go. SSRI connection. Because of course we're gonna fearmonger about people getting mental health care. Of course, this is what's gonna happen. Wonderful. Of course, they're gonna blame us. Of course.
By pharmaceuticals.
There you go.
That's a valid question.
No, it's not. It's an idiotic question. It's a conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy. This is a very stupid question. It's not valid at all. I told you this is going to happen. It's the fault of the trans people. It's the fault of the psychiatrists, psychologists, the pharmaceuticals. It's the fault of those pesky guns. Yeah, this is buying into the Jag don't do it, just eats up hook, line, and center this sort of idiotic conspiracy theory. Okay? The percentage of people in the society that do this type of stuff is staggering, though. Is it? Okay, give me the percentage of people that are on SSRI and commit shootings compared to people that are not on SSRI and commit shootings. How many people commit shootings in total, and how many people in this group are on SSRI? I searched for SSRI on YouTube, and one of the first videos is SSRIs are the devil with mask on thumbnail. Hello, Kevin Guzman. Yo, hello. Ridiculous and stupid. We could look it up now, okay? Maybe I'm wrong.Maybe it's like 90% of American shooters are mass shooters are on SSRI. How many of American mass shooters on SSRI? Is there a link between mental health and mass shootings? Columbia University Department of Psychiatry. There you go. There's actually a whole thing on this, so we can take a look. This has been a question that has been asked. There have already been more than 300 mass shootings in the United States this year. The latest of 4th of July. Okay, this is an old article. Okay, this is from 2022. So this is already... What are your thoughts on the issue? I've been giving my thoughts for the last... God knows how many minutes. TLDR. What has happened is awful, terrible, but we will not look into the real causes of this. We will never ask ourselves what caused this, how we could allow a person like this to come to this point, how we could have prevented this, what sort of measures can be taken to steer a person like this in a different directions. No, instead we will blame trans people, we will blame guns, we will blame SSRI, we will blame anything, okay? Instead of looking into individual cases, instead of looking, oh, this child is exhibiting a troubling behavior, worrying behavior. Maybe we should observe this child and see if they do not need assistance, okay? If they do not need to be steered in different directions, if they are not headed in a pretty dangerous way. No, we will definitely not do that. We will do the things that I have mentioned before. And we will see people like this pop up again. We will see things like this happen again. I can assure you that we will see more shootings like this because of what I just said. Okay, how can you even ask that after what I just said? How could you even ask? Whatever. Yes, I would say that the person was troubled mentally. This is a really... Why do you even want my opinion? If I give it and minutes later you just answer with a question that demonstrates that you have not listened to what I said. Anti-Christian ideology does not... Anti-Christian ideology would be a motive for killing priests. It would be a motive for potentially trying to destroy the church itself. It does not explain why kill children. It is not a motive for killing children, I'm sorry to say. So saying that anti-Christian ideology is in itself a motive for killing children is very weak. Be nicer to viewers. No. You like it when I'm not nice to viewers, actually. Well, they were in church, weren't they? So, if there was a cleaner hired at a church, just sweeping the floor of a church, going and shooting the cleaner would be... No, that's too weak for me. Plus, the shooter was fantasizing about killing children in particular. So it wasn't just they were in the church and the children were hit by accident because they happened to be in a church. The person was actively fantasizing about killing children. So the whole anti-religion thing does not fly with me as a full explanation, as a full motive. Plus, they still used it incorrectly because they said, oh, it says here they want to kill children. How can you say they did not have a motive? Yes, he was also fantasizing about killing Jesus, which is very bizarre. Yeah, the ones that get sensationalized like this usually are unnecessary. That's why people think it is. So let's see. The reality is that people with mental illness account for a very small proportion of perpetrators of mass shootings in the US, says Regi Girgis, MD, Associate Professor of Clinical Psychiatry in the Columbia University Department of Psychiatry and the New York State Physiatric Institute. So much for the SSRI connection. Are people with mental health issues, disorders more likely to commit mass shootings or mass murders? The public tends to link serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia or psychotic disorders with violence and mass shootings. But serious mental illness, specifically psychosis, is not a key factor in most mass shootings or other types of mass murder. Approximately 5% of mass shootings are related to severe mental illness. And although a much larger number of mass shootings, about 25%, are associated with non-psychotic psychiatric or neurological illnesses, including depression and an estimated 23% with substance use. In most cases, these conditions are incidental. Additionally, as we demonstrated in our paper, the contributor of mental illness to mass shootings has decreased over time. The data suggests that while it is critical that we continue to identify those individuals with mental illnesses and substance use disorders at high risk for violence and prevent the perpetration of violence, which is something, again, that is not going to happen, of course, because people don't care about doing that. Other risk factors such as a history of legal problems, challenges coping with severe and acute life stressors, an epidemic of the combination of nihilism, emptiness, anger, and a desire for notoriety among young men seem a more useful focus for prevention and policy than an emphasis on serious mental illness, which leads to public fear and stigmatization. So there you go. So much for the SSIR connection.
Well, absolutely. It's to me, I tweeted this earlier. I said the one common denominator in all of these mass shootings across the United States is always some sort of connection to antidepressants and
Oh, always. There you go. This is your alternative media. Just telling you lies to your face. Just lying to your face. This video has 138,000 views. This sort of mass shooting is just used as a bludgeon to just attack trans people, mental health care. It's just to lie to your face. 2.74 million subscribers.
SSRIs. We've done deep dive videos here and interviews here.
Yeah, deep dive.
On the channel about that. We've done deep dive videos here and
we've done deep dive videos. I don't think it's related, to be honest. I don't think the acceptance of the Church of Trans People is related to the shooting. Let me look at this again, because this is bare. I think this is worth reminding. The public tends to link serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia or psychotic disorders with violence and mass shootings, but serious mental illness, specifically psychosis, is not key factor. 5%. Oh. And because I know what people will say, this is about serious mental illnesses, but what about things like depression and antidepressants? And although a much larger number of mass shootings, about 25%, are associated with non-psychotic psychiatric or neurological illnesses, including depression, and estimated 23% with substance use, in most cases these conditions are incidental. But yes, this person has cracked the case. This person knows that antidepressants are the core culprit behind mass shootings.
Interviews here on the channel about this. I encourage you to go check them out. But it's a common denominator in all of these.
All of these shootings.
Now, a lot of it is kept hidden, obviously.
Yeah, of course, it's all kept hidden because of the, the powers that want to hide these from you. But all the alternative media channels, like the Redacted, they will tell you the truth. They will tell you the entirety of the truth. So please, only trust them. Only believe them.
They're minors.
The media is your enemy, after all.
At the time, so we don't get access to their medical records.
Yeah,
but then we learn from family and friends that, oh yes, This guy, you know, in relation to what happened at Columbine, he was on antidepressants, and now we know.
Oh, this is how you conduct your research. This guy in this particular case was on antidepressants, which means that all cases of mass shootings are linked to antidepressants. Thank you. You're a brilliant deep diver. You're a brilliant researcher. You're a real investigative journalist over here.
From pharmacists, we know that they're handing out these SSRIs like they're candy.
Yeah, of course.
It's just unbelievable how much antidepressants are flowing into our children. They're basically like sitting there like drones these days. And then when you add that on top of like trans hormones.
Well, exactly.
What the fuck are trans hormones? There's no such thing as a trans hormone. There's just hormones. What? I don't take trans hormones. I take the same hormones that women on menopause take. What the fuck is this? Trans hormones.
Yeah, because trans hormones also increase
What
risk
the
of
fuck does that mean? Trans hormones.
cancer. So we don't know if he actually had cancer or not. He might have just been super paranoid, thinking that he was, you know, that's not been reported anywhere.
The amount, as much as doctors always warn you before taking HRT that the risk of cancer will increase, the risk increase is negligible.
But yes, and the fact that he transitioned, that his mother allowed him to transition his
Has caused the shooting for sure.
name, the data is irrefutable that when a child transitions, it does
They
not
become a shooter. Okay? The data is just irrefutable that if a minor transitions, they inevitably just become a mass shooter. Brilliant. Thank you.
make them better. It locks them in to a path of misery, and most of the time the gender dysphoria persists, and it only makes them sterile, locks them into a pain of always trying to convince the world that they are something they're not.
There you go. It's all fault of the transgender agenda. How old were you when you transitioned? An adult. Which is why I'm not super well passing, as you can see. This is a substance from a giant trans. True.
And it worsens their depression and their body dysphoria. So, you know, that's not refutable science at this point. I can...
Yes, it is. Nothing that you said has even remotely... Nothing that you have just said has anything even remotely to do with science. What the fuck are you talking about? What's the science? You haven't quoted any science.
I can give you a laundry list of studies that show this. So he was allowed to go down a path that was destructive. We don't know what hormones then he was on after this name change, but it's like...
What do you mean you don't know what hormones they were on? You only have two options. What the fuck are you... Oh, what? Oh my god, the illiteracy on the display here is just embarrassing. You don't know what type of hormones they were on? If they were trying to transition from male to female, to use the lingo, what type of hormone do you think they were on? I'll give you a hint. It was definitely not testosterone. And there's only one option left. I swear to God, this is just... Wow.
Likely, I mean, from the photos we've got, it doesn't seem like any cross-sex hormones were being very effective. He still very much looks like a boy.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
But we just don't know. We are absolutely, as a society, owed those answers.
Why? Why the fuck would... What? Why would you want to know what sort of HRT they were on? Why is society owed that answer?
Well, and also, like, so today's Annunciation Catholic Church shooter identified as trans. The Aberdeen shooter identified as trans. The Nashville...
You don't identify as trans. You identify as a gender. You are trans, and you identify, for example, as a woman or a man or non-binary in some cases. You don't identify as trans. That's stupid.
Christian shooter identified as trans. The Lakewood church shooter identified as trans. I mean, the list is like endless. I don't know how many.
Oh yeah, endless list. Do I have to look up how big of a percentage of mass shooters are trans now? I can assure you that it's a minuscule percentage. But I guess, according to this person, the list is just endless. It's an endless list.
Missing here in all of this. Now, a lot of people saying, "Oh, this could have been a false flag operation."
What?
You know?
Well, I think, I mean...
And absolutely.
What the hell does that mean? False flag operation. The list is endless.
I mean, look, we're open to anything. I mean, absolutely. Was this a false flag
I have no clue what that means.
operation? I mean, let us know in the chat room if you think that this was a false flag operation. To what end, though? Like,
I know that is. I know. I'm asking you. That's what I'm asking you. To what end? What the fuck?
targeting Christians to incite what exactly?
Why would that need to be? Why would you need to do a false flag to target Christians? You can just target Christians. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Please use your brain for a second.
Is this a motivation towards? I always look when you have a false.
Do you even know what false flag means?
Flag.
Like the shooter was an agent hired to incite unrest? I don't know.
What is the answer here? What do you? I mean,
What
I think,
the fuck?
as people are saying in the chat, we are owed this answer exactly.
Well, Kash Patel says that they are looking into prosecution. As
This is just entering comedy level. This is just becoming funny.
hate crime, and I hate everything about this story, but I do not believe in hate crimes. Full stop. So those kind of things.
There's a conspiracy theorizing at play here. It just makes it just turns the whole situation into a farce.
Always expand the government's power. Look at the piece that I did about Matthew Shepard and how hate crimes were introduced based on a lie and have only expanded government power. So sure, there's an angle for how this continues to expand government power. I'm open to this. We don't know right now. They don't know
What?
what happened today.
And to go after Christians to target, I mean, who would have carried this out? Like, you know, was some people saying, oh, he could have been like MK Ultra brainwashed by the CIA and carried out this operation.
What? The CIA wants to take out the Christian church?
Right.
You know, you always look for disillusioned
The
individuals
CIA coup of the church.
that you can brainwash. We've interviewed many people here on this show who are survivors of MK Ultra. So we're open to it.
Yeah.
But obviously,
There you go. Let me see. Try Riviera, another trans shooter.
A peaceful start to the day ends in tragedy.
I have heard about a whole lot of hate.
Nobody wants that, and I don't know why you thought that would be a good idea right now.
Anybody
To the trans community, nobody needs that, nobody wants that, and I don't know why you thought that would be a good idea right now.
What?
Anybody
Well, did the trans community send this person to do the shooting?
who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
I think you lost your sense of common humanity in trying to shift this into a trans issue when really you were saying at the beginning that this was about the children, and that's who we should be worried about.
These are kids that
I'm sorry, the title of this video says another trans mass shooter. Oh, how can you turn this into a trans issue? Says the person that titled their video, another trans mass shooter. I wonder who is trying to turn this into a trans issue. I wonder.
should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance.
Yes, you're right. These children should be able to learn and pray without having to be worried about getting shot up by some overly juiced trans person.
There you go. Yeah, this person's totally not turning this into a trans issue. Oh yeah, children should be able to play without or worrying about those pesky trans people. To be fair, I've seen too many people being more concerned about trans hate than children being killed, which is weird. It is... You can say that it's weird, but then you can also see that there's a narrative being constructed, a narrative of this whole thing actually being caused by, well, the SSRI, which is interesting, and also by trans people. Now, notice what this person just said. This person said, oh, how can you turn this into a trans issue instead of worrying about the children? While at the same time, titling the video another trans mass shooter and saying that children should feel safe from trans people.
It's worried about getting shot. These children should be able to learn and pray without having to be worried about getting shot up by some overly juiced trans person.
What does even overly juiced mean? In Poland, it is 4 a.m., 4:38, so I still have some time.
That's taking cross-sex hormones at the peak of when their natural hormones are also kicking in. And instead of being able to talk about that, we refer to that as villainizing. So if you...
There you go. A person that has no clue how transitioning works talks about transition because taking the cross-sex hormones at the peak of when your other hormones kick in, you take blockers for those hormones. I'm not sure if you're aware.
You want to talk about trans, I'll definitely talk about trans.
Oh yeah, I know. I can see that. I can see that you have a lot to say about the trans.
Not going to like what you hear, so let's get
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I wonder who is turning it into a trans issue.
We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone.
What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, so I'm probably not going to do a lot of editing on this one because I am 100% bothered.
You're not Blair White, okay? Stop even. You're not Blair White.
About the way this whole situation has gone down. In case you haven't heard, there was another mass shooting by another trans person. I'm going to be clear about that because that's becoming a common theme.
Yeah, surely. Okay, I have to look this up now. I guess we have to look at the data. How many mass shooters are trans in America? Let me see. Is there even a data on that? Oh, well, that's not okay. It's like 0.13% or something. I read somewhere earlier. Can you link the source? Yahoo. No, transgender and non-binary people are not frequently mass shooters. Wow. What a shocker. But I want to see some data on that. I think I've made my case. I think I've made my point. This shooting will be weaponized. Instead of looking into the real causes of such things happening, instead of looking how these things can be prevented, instead of looking into how we can move to not let shootings like this happening in the future, we will see people attack trans people. We will see people attack guns, I guess. We will see people attack antidepressants. We will see all sorts of conspiracy theorizing and fear-mongering, but we will not see the actual causes for this addressed. What percentage of trans people are mass shooters would make more sense because, well, there aren't that many trans people. Well, I'm sorry, but what percentage of trans people would not make more sense, because the claim here is that more and more, like, the common thing of mass shooters is being trans. So actually the claim of this video as well as the video before is that shooters are trans people on antidepressants. But here you go, I can ask this question. How many trans people in the US are mass shooters? AP News, fact focus, no incredible rise in transgender shooters. Lucy, read the chat. Walter Masterson repost. The Gun Violence Archive reported that over a decade, fewer than 10 of the more than 4,400 mass shootings were committed by transgender suspects. This accounts for approximately 0.11% of mass shootings during that period. I highly doubt that AI would probably make better work. Or do better work. I highly doubt that, actually. Mass shooters are not disproportionately transgender. Fact check. Majority of US mass shooters are cis men and not trans people. So yeah. I think I've made my case. I mean, we've got some answers. We've got some answers from Google. So yeah. Yeah. And we are where we are. Jesus Christ Almighty, how this Eastern Destiny conflict. Food Shops is really getting a lot of traction from the Destiny drama, isn't she? Depressing state of affairs. This is really sad. But whatever. Whatever. It is what it is. We cannot exactly do anything about it, can we? Maybe you should too. I don't want to. I really, really don't want to. Fake Kyle Parker, you're my conscience. Should I do it? Should I cover the Destiny thing? Go, Fake Kyle Parker. You tell me. Oh, let's check up on Xander Hall. What is Xander Hall up to? Let me check the live viewers. Oh, dropped. 87. What is he playing? What is Xanderhall playing? Melanie Mack is quitting slop, Trump versus veterans, AI police surveillance, and more. I know that game. Wait. Okay.
Video would have necessarily, because it was filmed based on their DMs before Destiny and her even started talking, she was even younger than about to turn 18, but still 17, which was like she was 17 for a few months before turning 18 when Destiny and her started talking. So she was on the edge of turning 18, still creepy, still weird, still
Is
bad.
Xanderhall gonna
But,
bat for Destiny?
Like, to be clear, the video could have come from years before she turned 17, for all we know. It could have been from a year before. She could have been 16, 15 in that video. But we know that that video comes from before her and Destiny even started.
It's like a much better Minecraft. Is it?
So
maybe I should play it.
That video, his possession of it, and him specifically saying, I don't think I'm allowed to throw it away, which is an accidental slip in his wording, in which, had he confirmed with his lawyer that he needed to hold on to it, no matter what, he would have said, I absolutely cannot get rid of it. My lawyer has advised me as such. But he didn't say that. He said, I don't think I'm allowed to get rid of it. You would never say that if your lawyer explicitly told you, do not spoliate this evidence. This specific stuff, I don't care if you think it might be CP, hold on to it. You do not want to get caught for spoliation of evidence. Like if that is what the lawyer said to him, he would have explicitly, verbatim quoted the lawyer to Willie Mack. Destiny is not stupid enough to have incriminated himself unnecessarily.
Stupid enough. I guess we're getting into the territory of Destiny is actually a little bit stupid. Oh, can you give me the title of the game?
I think he just...
Whatever. Write in the chat what would you like me to... The Insane Lore of Linkara. Oh, maybe I should watch this. I wonder if Linkara still makes videos. What? I kind of have to ask. What do you want me to do for the remaining of the stream? More news? More politics? I will have to leave in an hour and 10 minutes. In an hour and 10 minutes, I will have to be out of the house. So I'm gonna go to the toilet. You tell me what you want me to do. Right, you're right, Greater Rain. Oh, interesting that you can get this game spoiled. I don't even know the title. Oh, a Vintage Story. Okay, thank you. It's Vintage Story. Okay, I'm gonna look into it, I guess. Be right back. I could. Play some Lone Survivor, couldn't we? Did you see the Ethan Klein thing? Which thing? Which thing would you like me to see from Ethan Klein? Linkara. Counterpoints, I have to prepare for that conversation. Oh. Trump is back to wanting to clean out Gaza, I see. Well. Oh my god. I'm scared. I'm planning to play Suikoden on streams, and I'm getting really worried by these views. Suikoden 4. 1 viewer. How big is this channel? I love Suikoden.
There you go. Now you get weak. My assistant might make it.
53 subscribers. Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna give this a like. What is this channel? Just a dad rolling dice against fate, cursed with natural born 10 luck. Minus 10 luck. In a lifelong battle with the RNG gods. My journey is simple yet fierce. I dream of succeeding at something I deeply care about, all while supporting those who matter most to me. That's cute. What videos do they have? They don't really upload video VODs. They only upload segments. Hello, Luck Livestream. Oh wow, Skies of Arcadia. They really stream old games. Legend of Legaia. Azure Dreams. Oh my god. Really, they really go into those old games hard, huh? Mega Man Legends 2. Damn. Oh, Expedition 33. Vibes over victory. Huh. If he's a dad, he doesn't have minus 10 luck. True. That is true. That is not an accurate thing to say. That if you're a dad, you have minus, yeah. Best JRPGs of the 2020s so far. I should play more JRPG. Oh god. Rebirth. Rebirth. Who's live right now? Dylan Burns, 199. My 191 viewers. Brooks, 75 viewers. The Enforcer, 12,000 viewers. The Enforcer is apparently a really big source of misinformation, which I guess this just proves my point that the more disinformation you peddle, the more viewers you are rewarded with. NATO violated. Vosh has surprisingly low viewership, actually. I have no clue what's happening. Nicolas Diorio, responding to Destiny's lies. Of course, that Destiny is at the forefront. The soy pill. Should people be fired for their extreme beliefs? Debate with Jubilee fascist. No way. I actually want to see this. I actually want to watch some of. Do you want me to watch some of this? In Poland? No, I haven't. Do you want me to look at this? Have you answered my question if it's in Poland, or do you want to watch this? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna check some of it out. And I'm gonna play some Lone Survivor.
The way that social media works, so much of our perceptions of other people are formed kind of behind closed doors and so much less in interactions. What I care about much more.
Okay, let's see.
I randomly hopped into the Wick call and it used my old stream key and which was set to private, so I had to set up a new one. So here we are. Hope everyone can find this one all right. I can already see the chat isn't working, so that's a little concerning. Great. Cool. Come on. Keep. Live scene.
This debate is about should people be fired for their extreme beliefs? My mom likes that content creator you were just on a second ago, Vegas Matt. Yeah? Wait, the gaming content creator? Oh.
Turn on the display.
The dad? You mean the father content creator?
And turn off the webcam so that I can turn it on here. There we go.
Joining meeting.
It's like a completely different angle. It's weird.
Welcome. Hello, the soy pill. Do you hear me?
Yeah, hi. How's it going?
Very good. I am a little pissed right now.
Like the literal last second canceling?
Yeah, like literally the last second. I'm gonna give him like one more minute, but we are reaching 10 minutes, so I might just interview you. I assumed this would happen because I knew he was flying in.
So where's the
He did say
fascist?
Frontier, which is a notoriously poor airline, but...
Where's the fascist?
Yeah, but I think I'm just gonna interview you and kind of like talk about, you know, your YouTube channel and
Should we hate the Nazis? The debate. You would be surprised. You laugh, but those are actually debates being had. Okay, a very prominent content creator that is in deep trouble right now, Destiny, has famously or infamously said that Nazis should be able to have their little groups on the university campus, and they should be able to debate people and do whatever they want. Okay. Destiny said that the fascists and Nazis should just be able to set up camp, set up their little stalls in the university campus and debate people. So, should we hate the Nazis? The debate is actually a real thing, believe it or not.
Excuse me, get the message out. But what you see happening, especially when not like right-wing, but religious, Baptist, people who previously would vote Democrats...
Is this the Jubilee fascist?
Is that all they can talk about is, oh, woke this, woke that, trans this, gay rights that, you went too far. And so what's absolutely going to happen if they're going to try to make this more palatable is they're not going to back away from the policies, just much like Gavin Newsom right now is not like going out there being like, we need DEI, we need LGBTQ, but he's passed a ton of trans legislation. They're just going to stop talking about it. They're just going to like shove it in the back and be like, hey guys, just like shut the fuck up for like an election.
I'm going to sleep. Goodbye. Good night.
We can talk. Like that's, I think what's going to happen is they're just going to push it under the rug and not make it the forefront because it was like, oh, we're in power so we can talk about it. And then they realize it's not nearly so palatable to most Americans, for better or for worse.
You guys, well, thank you for that answer. You guys, we have the man of the hour here. Kai has made it. Kai, as you're muted on the Zoom.
Okay, Jubilee fascist. Let's see.
Can you
Lucy, want to chat?
Yeah, no,
What about?
Sorry, I was waiting for the air conditioner I have here in this little shed area that I'm filming from. This used to be.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this used to be my old studio, so I just have none of the equipment here, so I don't even know how the audio is going to turn out. But yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry about the delay.
I'm gonna have to leave soon.
I feel like in the last 24 hours I've been like put into a washer and a dryer and like
you literally look like you got off a plane. You got the whole like Hawaiian t-shirt on. And...
Exactly. I like to play the part. I had like
Okay, can we get to the debate, please? I don't care for the small talk. I really don't.
From Florida, back like from my Cuban pals, which I did not do. The only thing I smuggled through substance-wise was mate, yerba But happy to be here. I'm sorry that it's a little later than we had hoped.
That's okay.
And with shorter time than we had hoped, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
It's
I
okay,
saw
and
the
I can stay
pictures of
late
you
if
drinking
you're open to it,
the
Daniela.
yerba
and-
mate.
All right, we're gonna get into
well,
it.
Guys, this is a debate. I was gonna give you guys some of the rules beforehand, but I think I'll just list it off and we can dive in, okay? But thank you so much for making it, Kai. Even if you're late, you're fashionably late. I like the shirt, so thank you. So the question is, for those that are watching and now tuning in and paying attention for the debate to start, the question is, should individuals be fired for having extremist political beliefs? This is following the Connor situation on Jubilee. I've already talked about that. That happened about a month ago or so by now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you each an opening statement of 2 minutes. And you can take up the entire 2 minutes or not. It's up to you. I'm going to do that. And then go back and forth. And then you each are going to have rebuttals officially for 2 minutes. So you each can make full statements. And then afterwards, it's going to be just open cross-examination. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So we don't have a coin to flip. I guess, does anyone want to go first? Or should I just flip a coin here? Or who wants to concede?
I'll concede. I've been talking for a while. Give my voice a rest.
Oh, you were talking for a while. Okay. Kai, you go first with your first. Let me get the timer out here.
Okay.
And get
Okay.
it started. Okay, 2 minutes is starting now. Kai, go ahead.
Yeah, I think within this debate, I mean, frankly, going into it with the prompt that we have, I'm very kind of cautious because I don't know how much of a debate we'll eventually run into. There's plenty of levels at which we can analyze this question on, like, should people get fired for their political views? What we eventually have to go to is like kind of the moral claim of like, well, what did Connor get fired for? What were the political views that he was espousing? And are those, because this is, what catalyzed this topic, are those reasonably sufficient for expelling somebody from their place of work? I'm not at all interested in debating the legality of it. I think that, an employer does have the right to suspend the employment of an individual because they may not represent, the company's vision or policy or anything like that. But I think that in reality, the way that we saw it with Connor and also the way that it has almost happened with me in the past, I think it is a betrayal of the left wing's worldview in an effort to kind of adhere to this idea, this Karl Popper.
What a beginning to the debate.
Uh-oh. Is it over?
No, you're just lagging a bit. You're still here.
Bad?
Your internet is bad.
Okay, sweet.
And opinions as well.
The Karl Popper idea, right, of the paradox of tolerance. I think, frankly,
Oh my God.
if these individuals who we're talking to, who are advocating for maybe expelling some quote unquote fascist or Nazi individuals from their places of work, are truly liberal, if they truly are empathetic or pretend to cast themselves as such, they ought to at least be able to extend that empathy a little further than just
to the Nazis.
Tolerance of people with,
Mhm.
let's say, more radical views. And I
Yeah,
think it's
empathize with the
also led
Nazis.
those same people to oftentimes shut out members of their own families. I think the worldview of under this paradigm of the paradox of intolerance is one that will create more misery and certainly more pain, and will only actually further enable the right. So I suppose in that sense, I might not even be so against it.
Time.
But
That's
yeah.
2 minutes. Thank you, Kai. Very salient points made there. Okay, Soypill, it is your turn. Let me reset this, and you may begin now.
Yeah, this is mostly pre-written, but I'll alter it a little because, I said obviously under the law, most states have at-will employment, and like Kai said, I assumed he wasn't, and he's not going to say that firing someone like Connor is this like landmark Supreme Court case that needs to be analyzed legally. But really, I mean, you can fire anyone for any sort of belief. It's not even needs to be extended to some sort of extreme thing. You can say, I don't like people who dress weird. I don't like people who have this kind of tone of voice that I don't particularly like. And I think that's totally fine. I don't think the state should be compelling people to force them to be employed for these things that may or may not make their workplace more cohesive. I think in terms of extreme beliefs, it makes perfect sense to be able to fire someone. It's usually within the company's best interest too, whether that's for workplace cohesion, making sure all the employees feel like they're at home and not afraid of someone, make sure they're productive and not, hey, can I even work with this guy who thinks this crazy thing? Or if it's just the company wanting to distance themselves from the beliefs of the employee, which are extreme. For Kai's specific example, you say, quote unquote, fascist. Yes, quote unquote, he called himself that. He says the
True.
Holocaust wasn't that bad, that Franco, the guy who killed a bunch of civilians, is based. He wants to end freedom of speech and democracy, deport all the brown people. It is so far past what I and most of society would consider reasonable to be fired. I think it's totally fine.
That is true. Quote unquote fascists. Whoever said people should be fired for certain beliefs, be careful what you wish for because the tables can turn fast. I'm sorry to say it, but certain beliefs should just not be allowed in the public sphere. I'm sorry, but being an open Nazi, I know a hot take, but being an open Nazi should not be just treated as, oh, it's just one of those things, it's just one of those quirks. This person should absolutely just be left alone and be able to work here as an open Nazi. I'm sorry to say, I don't think so. Okay.
And on the topic of whether or not liberals are not being nice enough to people that want to eradicate them, I don't know. Go fuck yourself, I guess. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, you want to fucking kill me, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you're a fascist specifically. I saw you're kind of Groyper adjacent, but and that's not an ad hominem to you. It's just kind of a silly argument to say that, well, you're just not being nice enough to me. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the two statements, right underneath the 2-minute mark, Sway Pill.
Yeah, except Jack Don't Do It says a lot of people would say that about the trans community where I am from. Well, except that the open Nazis actually say that the Holocaust was not so bad and that certain groups should be persecuted and that they're okay with that. Nazi has a very specific meaning, okay? And being an open Nazi should get you fired. And trans people are not equivalent to open Nazis. There you go. I hope I helped.
Thank you. So this is what's going to happen, you guys. I'm going to have Kai have a rebuttal of 2 minutes, and then you can respond back, Sway Pill. And afterwards, I'm just going to have you guys go for a free-for-all. Okay? Sound good? So, Kai, go ahead. I'm going to start it right now. 2 minutes.
Perfect. All right. So I want to caveat this by saying that Connor's made plenty of statements clarifying his intent, clarifying maybe the more important and thought out parts of his worldview. But I do think that it is very funny that whenever, these things are talked about, any kind of leftist or liberal is happy to throw in a bunch of political positions that Connor did not himself advocate for, along with ones that he admittedly did. And of course, the one that's always left out is what is the root, what is the absolute basis, the trunk of the belief system that Connor and other Christian nationalists or even, Christian fascists, I myself am not one, I'm just a conservative, but he notably leaves out what is the bedrock foundation of that belief system, which is the ultimate idea of not trespassing or depriving anybody of their human dignity. That is what inspires.
Yeah, because when you persecute minority groups, when you treat immigrants and asylum seekers like trash, that definitely does not infringe on human dignity at all, does it?
Connor's worldview, as at least insofar as what he
Pathetic.
told us. And I think if we are to take him at his word that he believes in autocracy, or even that he is a fascist, we can also take him at his word that he is not.
He said that he will play ball until they get into power and then get rid of all the undesirables, which stands in stark contrast of human dignity, actually.
Against the depriving anybody of their individual human dignity or killing anybody for that matter.
He did not say that.
Rather than engage with that more, maybe difficult point, because it is very difficult to admit that maybe your enemies aren't.
No, Nazis are not a minority group. That is a stupid thing to say. Nazis are a political group. That is God, that is such a stupid thing to say. Jack, don't do it. Sometimes you open your mouth and you say the stupidest things, okay?
Bloodthirsty, evil people, and casting them as such makes it much more makes it much more palatable to fire them from their places of work or otherwise. What you did, I don't know. I don't want to call you Soy Pill, but I don't know. If
you can call me Soy. You can call me Niels. My name's public, so either one.
Okay, real.
And by the way, I don't know if this matters to you. I am Jewish, so if I'm glad you came here knowing that I would use my Jew magic on you anyway. So
it's like where did that even come from?
I don't know,
I
man.
don't even understand why Jew magic. Why were those words like within the calculated response as if that was like something you were getting ready to clip and post on a Twitter video?
Oh, you got me.
I don't know what Jew magic has to do with it, but again, if you're taking so serious everything that Connor says, and you're even going so far as to interject with little things that he didn't say, I think we could also engage on what is more substantive, which is the root of his ideology, and that claim that he is not in favor of depriving anybody of their individual human dignity. His belief system,
That is a
by the way,
complete
is
lie.
more fundamentally rooted in something that is absolute. It is not relativistic. It is something that could be applied universally in absolute ways, the way that a liberal ideology simply cannot.
Liberal
because it
ideology.
lacks the foundation of something like a God character.
Time.
Of course, what,
Time.
Okay.
Kai did give you an extra 15 seconds because of the.
because of the Jew magic. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
It's
Okay.
much more powerful than 15 seconds, I'll say.
Soipo. Go ahead.
Oh, a rebuttal? Yeah. So I was kind of worried that this is what the debate was going to start being about, because I was like, well, this is an interesting prompt about whether or not we should fire people for radical beliefs, but I figured it might get into a prompt about what is really a crazy radical belief, and is this so insane? I think what's happening here is Kai's doing a huge Mott and Bailey and saying, well, actually, just like Nick Fuentes might say, I don't hate anyone for their race. And, I don't think, I mean, people are freaks if they believe that you're just bad because you're brown, eventually coming to the point of, okay, well, what do you actually advocate for? And it's mass deportations of brown people, saying we want an Anglo-Saxon Christian nation. There's a reason he got fired. And it's not because he said, I don't want to trespass on anyone's human dignity. It's because he echoed beliefs of fasci, right-wing, Holocaust-denying people, said Franco was based, and all this other crazy shit. So if you want to pretend like that's not what he said, we can say maybe he clarified later, but his employers didn't care. If not, the fact that he lied about being employed in the first place, is Daniela point out in the first place, that he might have been fired far before this Jubilee episode at all. But regardless, there's a reason why people look at this and say, yeah, this isn't a nice person, this is an evil person, and it's not because we're just primed and woke and scared of his crazy beliefs.
I'll be finishing stream soon, to be honest.
It's because he says things like, yeah, I don't think I want to condemn the Holocaust or any of those other crazy things. So if we want to have a fucking fascism debate, I guess we can, but I'd be curious to hear if you have a good argument as to why we shouldn't fire people for having beliefs that are incredibly upsetting, because even if Connor is as nice as you says he is, he's just a sweet little boy, he's trying to spread love around the world, he's still making people think a certain way about him, and whether or not that's crazy or
sweet little boy
clutching, that is the reason why he was fired, and that's the reason why he would cause some sort of incongruency, lack of cohesion, or a lack of productivity in the workplace. And I think that's still a perfectly valid reason, even if they're wrong about his beliefs. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, well, you guys have made your statements. We all know the context, and if the conversation does go in areas where I'm going to try to keep it on the original question, but inevitably,
I'm gonna watch it for a few more minutes, and I'm gonna end stream there. But
I'm going to give you guys free reign. Go right ahead, Kai, respond, and then you guys can go at it. This will be the cross-examination period. Go ahead.
Perfect. Well, I just want to start by saying it is pretty rich accusing me of engaging in a Mott and Bailey, and also creating this intuition pump regarding the way that I've talked about Connor, saying that he's like just the most loving and carefree, kind-hearted soul in the world. It's like, I know Connor, he's a friend of mine, but I didn't have to go to those lengths in order to say that the way that you were characterizing him was maybe just a little bit dishonest. And I would be surprised if you yourself would be unwilling to admit that, in describing the things that he said in the episode, you also included things that he clearly did not say, such as
can we go through them
taking
one
all
at a time?
brown people out of the country. Would you agree with that? Let's go one by one. Do you agree with that?
To be fair, on that one specifically, I might have been confusing him with the the backwards cap guy. And I know that Mehdi Hassan asked you specifically, or would you be in favor of deporting me? And you kind of coyly smiled about it. So maybe he's not in favor of that. I could be wrong about that specific one. I know that when questioned about whether or not he's not a fan of the Holocaust, he says, well, they persecuted Christians, which anyone with a brain can figure out why he would say something like that, and not, oh, they killed like a shit ton of innocent people, and why that's the bad part. So I don't know if we want to like smugly dismiss all of the very obviously extreme things he said, but sure. Did he not say he wanted to deport every single brown person? Maybe.
Awesome. And did he not at any other? Well, hold on. Actually, maybe is a little.
Well,
short.
I to be fair, when I rewatched it, I rewatched your part specifically this morning. But I'm going through the transcript now just to double check. I could be wrong. Would you say that he doesn't want to have mass deportations of brown people, or no?
Well, now we've shifted the goalposts.
No, I'm curious.
significantly. We've talked about kicking all brown people out of the country, and to talk about what Connor mentioned, what he mentioned actually is that there are Mexicans in this country, or historic Mexicans, right, who were subsumed into the United States because of a shift in the borders of the United States during westward expansion, who, by his own words, and this is what he said, are just as American as many of the white Americans who came over in the founding years and founding decades of this nation. That's what he said. He didn't talk about kicking out all brown people. So let's just use his words.
Okay, well, cool.
But
We can just stop there. No, we can stop there because let's stay on this point, right? All right, so sure, maybe he didn't specifically say, hey, anyone who is this shade of melanin, get the fuck out of my country, which would be, just like Nick Fuentes, kind of a ridiculous idea of just saying, well, it's only because of the color of their skin, and he can point to different reasons and justifications of this. Well, they have a more, native base in this country because they've been here longer, or they specifically have these values XYZ. I think the point is that these views are extreme. That's the reason why when you say I'm a fascist and I only care about these sorts of things and I don't believe in democracy and I want to end free speech, that they're going to fire him. If you say, oh, well, it's not the most extreme caricature of what you interpreted, which is actually probably what a lot of people would interpret, and I would guess that maybe you and him are being crypto about, but let's just take you at face value.
Disagree.
Let's just take you at face value. It's still an extreme belief set that he is representing here, and if he clarified later, it doesn't matter. This is the thing that got millions of views.
Well,
so.
I think the place that you moved the goalpost to, which is just mass deportation of illegal immigrants, that is absolutely not a radical opinion. At least to me, it's not. But I would also
say that is in the Overton window. If it's just illegal immigrants, that's literally what Trump campaigned on. But that's not all he said. So
exactly. And what was anything like?
Okay, that's enough. I think I'm going to raid you into somebody. Who will I raid you into? Vegcom, there you go. So good night. I have to prepare to go to the doctor, and I'll see you. Bye bye.